Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Okay. Uh, okay. So we'll start with. I hope everyone is enjoying the session so far. This welcome to Fireside Chat 2 from Influence to Impact. Now, before we dive in, I would like to introduce my guests again. So I have Juhi Gurwara, Director of Brand Communications and Digital at Philips, and I have Shivalika Chadda Malik, Associate Director of Brand Communication at PepsiCo. I am Aviral Vashne, Group Head Influencer Marketing at Social Cloud. So, over the next 20 minutes, we'll talk about how PR is helping brands and influencers build meaningful partnerships that go beyond reach and go into real engagement and brand loyalty. So, I'll start with the first question, Juhi. How do you leverage PR storytelling to craft influencer collaboration that create impactful narratives while also strengthening your brand's connection with diverse audiences?
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. It's a last panel. I know you're all waiting for this to finish, but we will try and make this as interesting as possible. PR and brand collaboration is what you want to hear about. But before that, I do want to mention that with the kind of business that Philips does, and many of you have probably grown up with the brand, there is healthcare, there is the consumer business, which is beauty and grooming, there's the mother and child care brand, and many other things that we do as well, lighting, etc. So with a diverse business like that, influencer engagement is also divided into various categories. For the healthcare business, for example, our KOLs are our doctors, and they influence the journey that the patient takes from home care to diagnostics to actually getting a procedure done in the hospital. Yes, the patient may not have a view about using a Philips machine when they're under the scanner, but the doctor is their advisor there, so they are our key opinion leaders. On the other side, the Avent business is about embracing motherhood, and we do influencer engagement with some celebrity mothers. We've had collaborations with Sania Mirza, Neha Dhupia, and now with Alia Bhatt as well through their journeys. But I would say there's a thin line between the marketing collaboration and the PR initiative for such cases. So we would actually work with someone who's used the product and who gives a testimony on how it's working for their baby in this case. For beauty and grooming, it's a little easier. For grooming, we target the younger audience who want to look great. You've got a stylized beard as well, so I don't know if you're using a Philips shaver or trimmer, but try that, I would suggest. Sure. And the lovely women here as well must be using some of the hair care products that we're doing with beauty. So if you've tried something and you speak about it, that is genuine PR. That's not a collaboration that we're doing with an Alia Bhatt. That's separate. That's advertising. So that's how I would describe how we're collaborating. There is a separate set where we're doing a paid endorsement, and influencer collaboration is for someone who's tried the product and genuinely speaks about what they feel about it.
So you talked about healthcare as a brand with Philips. So while collaborating with doctors, what kind of mandates or guidelines do you give them that you should ensure that everything is being followed?
For doctors, we cannot give a mandate. If they are using our product to do X number of scans a day and they think it is helping them look at more patients because of the technology, these days there is remote monitoring. You can use AI tools to make sure you are taking care of more patients in a day and better care for more people, right? So if they are happy with it, they will talk about it. We will only suggest and ask them if there's something they'd like to say to us. For a product launch, they'd come to an event, they would witness what we're doing, and only if they want to, they will prescribe the product.
It's more of brand advocacy rather.
Absolutely.
So moving to you, Shivalika. So as we all know, PepsiCo operates in a youth-driven market. How does PR help you balance entertaining content with impactful brand messaging for your brand?
Thank you, and first of all, good evening, everyone, and it's great to be here. Like you rightly said, it's a very good question because entertainment and impactful messaging, sometimes you just feel do they even go hand in hand? I think PR serves as a critical bridge between entertainment and the kind of impactful messaging that you want to bring through influencer campaigns. And there are two ways of doing it where PR has a very, very important role to play. Number one, the youth-driven market that you're talking about and the influencer boom that's happened. Today, an influencer is not just putting one piece of content, they're putting 3, 4, 5 pieces of content on a daily basis. It's a cluttered market out there. And PR therefore has a role to ensure that how can we craft engaging, meaningful content which breaks that clutter, which ensures that there's a span of attention that you can get from the consumer in a very seamless manner. The second role, the very important role that PR also plays is the fact that when we are actually doing influencer campaigns, even for like a specific brand, let's say Pepsi, you're reaching out to different genres of influencers. You're working with the music influencer, you're working with a food influencer, you're working with a gaming influencer and all of that. But the fact is, while they put up their content out there and it's very entertaining to see, what is that core message which is actually very true to the brand ethos? That is very important, and that's where the comms function comes into the picture. And I'll give you a very simple example. Pepsi in Saudi Arabia is basically recently did a campaign called "Where There's a Ball, There's a Pepsi," because football's big there, right? And we wanted to say that, hey, on the field or when you're watching football on TV, your experience is incomplete if you don't have a Pepsi. Then we did something with music with Middle Beast, which is a concert and youngsters are going out and having a great time grooving. But what we're saying is your experience is incomplete if you don't have a Pepsi. The third thing is local cuisine. People are going, family, friends, enjoying a meal. Culinary is really big. So if you don't have a Pepsi, the experience is incomplete. And here you're doing actually working with different kind of influencers. But that's where comms comes and says, what is your core message? What does the brand stand for? The brand actually stands for the fact that Pepsi understands the pulse of the youth. Pepsi plays on the passion points of the youth. And now when you actually see all those campaigns happening, which is part of the bigger thrift, the core messaging, what the influencer is saying, you may be seeing a game, you may be seeing a concert, which is entertainment, but what you're seeing is a core message which simply says Pepsi understands the youth. And that's why it's more relatable to the youth. So just coming back to the role, these are the two key areas where PR definitely plays an important role when it comes to influencer campaigns.
How do you identify the right set of influencers, since nowadays almost everyone is an influencer? So how do you identify those influencers that PepsiCo should collaborate with?
So one, it depends on who you want to reach out to. And I think the key one-word answer would be ensuring how do you kind of find an influencer where you resonate with the audience insights. So as long as you know your influencer and you understand the fact that their audience, what are their passion points, what are the cultural sensitivities, what are the cultural nuances, what ticks that audience profile, what, and then you can actually reach out and then collaborate with that influencer. So audience insights will ensure personalization as well.
Okay, Juhi. So Philips is an industry which is driven by innovation, right? How do PR and communication ensure influencer partnerships at Philips are ensuring that ethical standards are met?
Very interesting question. So I do want to mention here that the tagline that we use for our brand is true for itself in every possible way, which is impacting people's life, improving people's life, and our mission is actually to improve 2.5 billion lives a year, every year by 2030. So how do we do that? We have to do that through the products. And to get to that point where people are using our products, we need the influencers to support us. So if somebody truly wants to make an impact and believes in the purpose, which is the larger goal, then they would aptly support us, right? So in the early examples that I was giving, someone who's actually used a product, it has touched their lives or made their lives better in a way. I gave an example of childcare. But beyond that, if you look at just grooming essentials as well, right? It's improving your life in some way. You feel more confident. You feel you're ready to face your day. And that's how I think we are making a true impact by genuinely touching people.
So when a content is being created, you ensure that there's some storytelling aspect to it.
Absolutely, it has to be real content. We will not usually give a script or even, in fact, dictate to people what they should be saying. It is about your own perspective and your own use.
So you want influencers to maintain their organicness. That
Absolutely. So even within influencers, there'd be categories, right? So micro-influencers, for example, are people with lesser follower base, but they are the ones who we would trust more because they genuinely are reaching an audience because of their voice. Then there are celebrity influencers who are more, for their, who are known for their name. So that others, people who watch those TVCs also would know that they're doing it because they're getting paid for it. But eventually, if someone's doing it in the long run and that identifies their style or their usage of the product, they stand for it.
Got it. So, Shivalika, with PR overseeing communications consistency, how do you adapt your influencer strategy to align micro, macro, celebrity influences under a unified messaging?
Okay, yeah, the influencer world is booming out there. So I would just say it is precision and flexibility, two keywords. And it's coming from the fact that when you're actually working with celebrity influencers, what do you want out of them? You want to ensure that you leverage their reach, their scale, their credibility, and therefore it's very important when you're trying to do that to utilize that kind of content with them or make content with them which is larger than life because they are aspirational. When you are actually trying to set a tone for a new campaign or when you're looking at the big ideas, that's where the celebrity influencers kind of come through. When you're looking at some macro, which are celebrities in their own right these days, and also micro-influencers like Juhi mentioned, trust, credibility, community engagement, these are the things that you want and therefore your content will be more personalized, much more relatable there. And therefore you're going to start working in terms of ensuring that stories, and in case of an example, it's Dew. With Mountain Dew, everybody knows the tagline, Dar ke aage jeete. Our celebrity influencers are Mahesh Babu and Hrithik Roshan. Now, the fact is, because of the credibility and reach, you will use them in a thematic, right? And when you think Dar, and when you see larger than life Hrithik Roshan, though you may want to hear it and it's going to be fun and it's going to get viral that he's afraid of lizards, but that's not something that you're going to put your money behind. What you're going to try to do is you're going to create a larger than life picture, the action, the adrenaline, all of that, so that you can have a national appeal and you set the tone for the brand tonality. On the other hand, when you're going to use macro influencers and micro influencers, you're actually going to make personalized and audience-based engagement campaigns where somebody is actually talking about a story that how victory is overcoming fear because I overcame my stage fright. Or I actually got out of a toxic relationship after thinking for many years, but I actually took that step. Or the fact that I've come out of the closet. Those are relatable stories, and that's going to be very, very different in terms of how you're going to talk, keeping the cultural nuances in place. So this is how you're going to actually pick up and figure out how I want to use my celebrity influencers, how I want to use my macro, nano influencers, keeping all in mind that creation of story and your core message, which is Dar ke aage jeet, that can't budge, irrespective whoever you're using. So yeah, that's where I come from.
Celebrities basically set the tone and micro, nano, macro influencers take it forward.
That's absolutely right.
So Juhi, beyond traditional PR metrics, what advanced methods or strategies do you use to measure tangible impacts?
So with influencer engagement, similar to the other pieces that we do with PR, I think the best metric, and it's been that way for ages, I wouldn't say something innovative about it, is to actually see how it's impacting your sales. If putting out something in this week gives me a higher sale following the next few weeks, then I can measure it, and that's where I'm actually supporting the business. The number of likes and shares and website traffic is all good, but that's not really monetization. So we can be as innovative as we want and come up with newer metrics every day, but if you see the graph going up in your sales cycle, that's the true measurement.
Got it. So to wrap up, it's a question for both of you. So how do you see PR evolving to shape the next wave of influencer marketing? What changes can come in PR?
Sure. So I think PR and advertising have always had this clear distinction of what is organic and what is paid. That is here to stay. But where we are getting to is now more and more consumers are recognizing the difference between PR and advertising. And with new stringent laws coming in place where you have to mention sponsored or paid collaboration, etc., I think we're just getting more and more into the real world. So businesses are trusting PR more than advertising. And I think that just takes us as PR professionals into a higher role where we have to make sure we are true to what we say. It has to be more credible. That trust has to continue. And people have to believe that every piece that's going out of the organization has gone through a communication channel or gone through a PR person. It's not anymore about just a fancy tagline that does not tie to the genuine message that the organization is trying to put out.
And Shivalika?
I'll just try to put it in three simple things of how you are going to ensure that longer term partnership that you were talking about. One, I think authenticity is going to be the core currency. The fact, as long as you ensuring that there is going to be relatable content, there's going to be authenticity in the way you want to communicate, that is going to ensure that you are doing effective storytelling and you always have a role to play. The second thing is, if you're going to actually see as influencers being co-creators and not just amplifiers. So what it really means is a brand's coming out with an ad, giving it out and saying, hey, amplify, it's not going to help you in the long term. It's actually going to be when you're actually sitting with them, co-creating, and then also ensuring longer term. As an influencer, if their beliefs and their audience content has synergies with my brand, that is when I'm going to look at longer term partnerships. And then I'm not going to see that influencer doing a Pepsi content on one day and 6 months later doing my competition and then third coming back. And that's not going to breed trust and credibility. And the last thing, I feel it's going to be data-driven efficiency, because in today's day and age, when we were talking technology, when we were talking data, how we actually use that data in terms of audience segments to personalize it is actually going to drive the longer-term relationships and the authenticity of what we bring to the table.
Okay. Thank you, Juhi and Shivalika, for sharing your insights. You have shown us how PR and influencer marketing together can work to create better strategies. I hope our audience also learned from this. Enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here.